All right, let's get right into it. We're going to unpack a really wild theory today, one that comes straight from our source material. And it's a big one. It basically suggests that our reality, well, it might just be a program. And get this, the secret knowledge on how to hack it could be ancient. You know, we all talk about social media algorithms and how they influence what we buy or who we vote for. But what if that's just scratching the surface? The theory we're looking at today asks a pretty chilling question. Are algorithms just the beginning of a story of control that's way, way older?
To even begin to understand this, we've got to start with something we all live with every single day, our new algorithmic reality.
So, according to the theory in our sources, these algorithms aren't just passive tools anymore. Nope, they've become these perfect impersonal enforcers. They're not just showing you things you might like. They are actively building a personalized truth bubble just for you, shaping your entire view of the world.
So you might be asking, how does this actually work? Well, the theory says it's a three-step dance. First, you've got automated alignment. This is where the algorithm kind of nudges you towards the mainstream opinion, It pushes consensus stuff to the top and quietly demotes anything that goes against the grain. Then there's precise microcontrol. This is where it gets personal. It learns what makes you tick, your biases, your fears, and then it feeds you a custom diet of content designed to get a rise out of you. And finally, the master stroke, the illusion of neutrality. This is so important. It makes all this manipulation look like it's just math, just a personalized experience, not what it really is, a totally curated reality.
But here's the thing, technology is only half the picture. The theory argues that this entire system works only because it taps into some really basic things about human psychology. So let's look at that human element, the psychology of control. The whole thing is described as this toxic partnership. It's a kind of symbiosis, where one type of person is out there creating all the chaos and the narratives that flood our feeds, while another type of person just eagerly eats it all up, which keeps the whole crazy cycle spinning. And this slide really breaks down those two types perfectly. On one side, you have the psychopathic leader, the architect of the system. This is someone who lacks empathy, sees reality as just another tool, and isn't afraid to create these huge, dramatic, even catastrophic narratives to get what they want. And on the other side, you have the narcissistic consumer, who is literally the fuel for the system. They crave drama and validation, so they consume these narratives to feel like they're at the center of some big, important story. The leader creates the chaos. The consumer gives it all the emotional energy it needs to grow.
Now, I know what you're thinking. This whole dynamic feels so modern, right? It's all tied up in our digital world. But the source material asks a really provocative question. What if this is just the latest version of a very, very ancient blueprint for mind control?
The theory lays out this idea of a golden thread of hidden knowledge. It suggests that this powerful understanding of human consciousness was first scattered when the Great Library of Alexandria fell. Then, it was supposedly guarded for centuries by secret groups, like the legendary assassins of Alamut, and maybe even hidden away in places like the Vatican's secret archives. And today, well, today that same battle has just moved online, with whistleblowers trying to get information out while the algorithms we just talked about try to suppress it.
And one of the wildest legends from this whole history is something called the Paradise Program. The story goes that the leader of the assassins at Alamut would drug new recruits and take them to this secret garden, a simulated paradise. This created an incredibly powerful subjective reality for them, and the promise of being able to go back to that paradise, that's what ensured their absolute loyalty. It's a pretty powerful metaphor for how controlling someone's perception of reality is the ultimate way to control their actions.
So how is this control triggered? Well, the theory points to old myths, like Alibaba, where the magic words "open sesame" unlock a hidden reality. The idea here is that specific words, or maybe sounds or smells, could be used as triggers to activate a pre-programmed state of mind, whether that's the divine authority of an ancient pharaoh or the deadly loyalty of an assassin.
Okay, so we've gone from algorithms to ancient mind control. But now the theory takes its biggest, most ambitious leap. We're moving from just hacking minds to actually hacking time and reality itself. At the very heart of this idea is something the sources call the catalytic pebble principle. The concept is that to change the future, you don't need some huge, dramatic intervention in the past. No, instead, you make one tiny, precise, symbolic change, like tossing a tiny pebble into a pond, that then triggers this huge cascade of totally unpredictable, nonlinear consequences down the line.
And this is just a brilliant illustration of that principle. The motto is, a dagger on a pillow, not a sword in the back. Think about it. Why? A sword in the back is a direct, physical attack.
But a dagger left on a pillow, that's a psychological act. It completely shatters the target's sense of safety, it makes them paranoid, and it causes them to make all sorts of irrational decisions that eventually lead to their own downfall. The hacker doesn't even have to fight them. They just make their enemy defeat themselves.
So, could a tool for hacking reality actually exist? I mean, really, this is where the story gets even stranger. And we have to talk about the legend of the chronovisor. The claim was just mind-blowing. A secret device built by the Vatican of all places that could literally look into the past and the future. They even produced a photo they claimed was of Jesus on the cross. But as you can see, the other side of the story is pretty strong. That photo? It was eventually identified as just a flipped image of a wooden crucifix. And the design of the machine? It looks suspiciously like something out of a science fiction story from 1947. To this day, the Vatican has never even admitted the thing existed. So it's left as this wild, compelling legend about the ultimate hack.
So, if we are living in this potential system of control, from algorithms all the way to reality hacks, is there a way out? Is there an escape? According to this theory, yes, and the solution is all about becoming what's called the sovereign individual.
Okay, this is the crucial point. The whole system that's described in the source material, with its architects and its consumers, it has one major weakness, one existential threat, a type of person that it simply cannot control or predict.
And here are the traits of that person, the sovereign individual. They're immune to the fear spirals that get pushed by all those narratives. They can see right through the ideologies. And crucially, they are not narcissistic consumers looking for someone else to validate them. So all the drama just doesn't hook them. They cooperate based on their own insight, not because they're told to. And all of this makes them basically impossible to buy, to blackmail, or to control. In a way, they're like a glitch in the matrix, showing a path to real mental freedom in an age of constant manufactured outrage.
And that brings us to our final thought. This entire theory, which weaves together ancient myths and modern technology, really forces us to ask a huge question. If our reality really is a kind of program run by narratives and algorithms, who's writing the code?